Hey guys, Mrs. Traver here. Let's look at our agenda for Monday, September 15, 2020. Today we're going to review our homework from last Friday. We'll take some notes mainly on slope, a review skill from algebra, and then we'll have an assignment with some slope problems within it. Learning target today is you'll understand the relationship between x and y on a coordinate plane when a linear equation is graphed. So a line, when that's graphed, we'll look at slope. You'll know you're successful when you can find slope from a graph or from 2 points. We'll do examples of those today. You'll be able to also recognize different types of slope. Let's first, though, look at our assignment from yesterday. So here's some answers from, I shouldn't say yesterday, from Friday. Let's look at those ones. You did 26 through 29. If you have any questions on those, please feel free to visit my Zoom. All right, so pause your screen if you want to check them out. Otherwise, we're going to keep going here. All right, let's check out slope. So it is usually talked about as the rate of change is how you'll see it in textbooks. As well as how you're used to seeing it is rise over run. Most common way we think of it is rise over run. So rise is up, down, and run is a left, right. And if you think of it with this picture, if you can go in your brain from rise over run to thinking about it as a vertical over a horizontal, notice this is the y-axis. The y-axis goes up and down, and the x-axis goes left and right. So it really is the y's over the x's. We call it delta y over delta x, or the change in y over the change in x. How much it rose or fell over how much it ran or went backwards. Your textbook calls this a slope triangle when we do this. So if I've got these 2 points, you want to build a triangle with them. You can do 2 different triangles, so there's no right or wrong answer because you could have drawn the one above the line or below. I'll just do below. And I'll think about starting at this top point here because I have to go up and down first. So I'm going to notice that I went down 1, 2, 3. So I went down 3. I'll label that a -3. And then I had to go left 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Left 6. So notice left is negative and down is negative. So I had a negative, negative. So if I did rise over run, I'd get -3 over -6. We can reduce this, and we should. 2 negatives make a positive, so those will go away. And 3 over 6 is the same as 1/2. So my slope on this one's 1/2. Remember when I said you could do it 2 different ways? Let's think of it if we drew the triangle on the other side. So if I instead started with this point, and I went up 3, that'd be +3. And then I went right 6, that'd be +6. That would have been 3 over 6, which is also 1/2. So again, it doesn't matter which one you do. Just make sure if you are going to the left, it's negative, and if you're going down, it's negative as well. Let's look at another example. So these ones actually I want you to give a shot. So draw in your slope triangles either above or below, and then count them out. Remember, it's rise over run. So go ahead, pause your video now, try those ones out. When you push play, I'll have the answers on screen. All right, here's what we've got. For the first one, I drew my triangle on the bottom here. I went down 3 and right 4, so I have -3/4. If you drew it on the top, you would have had 3 over -4, which is the same thing I want to mention. Generally, if we're writing it though, we don't write it with the negative on the bottom. We either write it in this way, or you see it with the negative written on the outside. Either is fine. This looks kind of weird, putting the negative on the bottom. So either one of these is how I'd write it. All right, on the next one, I went up 4 and right 1. So I got 4 over 1. Anything over 1 is itself, so I simplified this down a little bit and just wrote 4. All right, let's try slope a different way. Now, instead of a graph, I'm giving you 2 points. Now, there's an equation for this, but let's try to figure out what it is from what we know. Remember, we have rise over run is our process. And our rise is up downs and our run is left rights. Up downs are y, so this is change in y over change in x because left rights are x's. So if you can think through rise over run, okay, rise is up down is y's, you know that when you're doing this equation that the y's need to go on top. That's usually a mistake I see. How we'll write this is we'll say slope is m. We use that variable for slope. So we'll say m equals, we want to say the difference in y's and the difference in x's. So I need to label some things first. Usually I have 2 points. Well, I always have 2 points. And they're labeled x, y for each of them. but I can't be mixing up which one's the first point and which one's the second point. So let's call this one x1, y1, and this one x2, y2. That way I know which one came from the first point and which one came from the second point. Now to say change in y, I want to see how far apart those two y's are. So I'm going to say y2 minus y1 on the top. That gives me how much y changed. On the bottom, I want to say the same thing, but for x's, x2 minus x1. This is your slope equation. It is something that you learned in algebra, and I'm hoping you've got down here pretty soon. We'll do some more practice today to review, but it's something you're expected to know coming into geometry. So if you're not there yet, make sure you're focusing on that practice today. Now we have to plug it in and actually find our slope. So let's see, for this example, m equals y2 minus y1. So I've got y2 is 9 minus, from the equation, y1 is negative 2. I'm going to leave that double negative for a minute. I know I can simplify it. On the bottom, I've got x2 minus x1. x2 is 2. The equation has a minus. x1 is negative 1. So notice I left those double negatives in there. I want to be really careful about this. The first minus sign you saw was from the equation. The second was from the number we pulled. Now I can do some simplifying. 2 negatives in a row make a positive. So I've really got 9 plus 2 is 11. On the bottom, I've got 2 negatives make a positive. 2 plus 1 is 3. 11 over 3 does not simplify. So there's my final answer. Let's try another one. Actually, another couple. So if you need it, here is the equation again. I'll put it on the top. All right, and then let's try to just jump in. I'm going to label some things first. We've got point x1, y1, and point x2, y2. And then let's get some practice in. So y2 minus y1, that's 6 minus 1 on top. On the bottom, x2 minus x1, that's 13 minus 19. On the top, 6 minus 1 is 5. In the bottom, 13 minus 19 is negative 6. This cannot get simplified, so I'm all set. Chugging along here, let's do another one. I've got x1. Ooh, let me get rid of that. Looks kind of funky. On the top one, I've got, not a laser pointer, how about a pen? There we go. There we go. I've got x1, y1, and x2, y2. All right, so slope equals y2 minus y1, so that's 11 minus negative 19. On the bottom, x2 minus x1, so that's 17 minus 15. On my top, I've got that double negative. Let's simplify it to say plus. So I've really got 11 plus 19. That's the 11 and 19, that's 30. Yeah, 30. On the bottom, 17 minus 15 is 2. This one I can simplify. 30 over 2 is 15. So my slope on this one's 15. All right, let's check out something else I'd like you to see. I've got a couple pictures here, going back to graphs for a moment. So here's a couple pictures of graphs, and we could find the slope 2 different ways now. We could have found the slope by counting out a slope triangle, or I could have looked at what these points actually were and found the slope from it. What I want you to recognize is that there's a few different types of slope. One of them is positive and one's negative. So notice this is going up from left to right. We read from left to right. So if you start tracking the line with your eyes and then you move to the right, notice you're also going up. So if you end up, it is a positive slope. And if you track this line going from left to right, you're going down, so it's a negative slope. Not too crazy there. This one, matter of fact, would have been 1, 2, if I count out my slope triangle, would have been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up 5. 1, 2, 3, right 3. So this one would have been the slope 5/3. It's a positive number. This one went down 2. There's my negative. And then right 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this one would have been negative 2/5. All right, let's look at the last two, which is, whoa, there we go, undefined and zero slope. So undefined slope is one that goes straight up and down, and zero slope is one that goes straight left and right. Let's see why that happens. Here's the deal. If you try to draw a slope triangle between these 2 points, you can't. There's no triangle I can make. So it's kind of nice if I think about it like rise over run. If I thought about the rise here between these 2 points, my rise, it went up 1, and it went left and right, none at all. But you can't divide by 0, so therefore it's undefined. Remember, it is not okay to divide by 0, and it is okay to have 0 on top. So because it's not okay to have 0 on bottom, this one is undefined. Try in your calculator, mind you. If you do 1 divided by 0, it won't even give you an answer. On the other guy though, if I count out my rise over run, my rise, it went up and down, none at all, and it went left and right. This one, it went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 0 over 6, that's an okay number. That's an okay number. It just is 0 pieces out of 6. So this simplifies to just be 0. All right, let's see. We are ready for our homework assignment. Let's check out what that looks like. Here it is, 114. We are doing problems 32 through 36. So down to our review preview. 32, there's 4 problems here, and you're looking to solve equations. We did some notes on this a couple days ago. So simplify first, combine like terms, then isolate that variable. Number 33, it's asking you to look at the situation with some plants and use some reasoning skills. I think you'll be good on that one without my help. Number 34, there's 2 equations where you need to solve for y in terms of x. We haven't done examples of these, but I want you to try it out on your own. Notice if you need it, there's homework help. So if you click this, if you haven't checked on it yet, it helps you out a little bit by showing you the beginning steps. So on this one, for example, it's showing you the first step and the second step, and it will even show you the answer for this problem. For part B though, it's leaving you on your own to try it by yourself. So see if you can work through this one without my help, but instead using the resources you have. Number 35 is a perimeter and area problem like we worked on yesterday. And then there's some slope questions down here. That is it for our homework. Again, make sure you're using your resources with that homework help link, as well as if you need me, come visit me on Zoom. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.